guys may or may not have seen this story over on TikTok, and I want to talk about it real briefly from everything that I can recall about this situation. Okay, this woman's name is Tanisha. Okay, and let me switch gears because I really just had this up so that you guys can see who she is, see what she looks like and things. If you want to get her full story of what I'm about to tell you guys and you want to hear it directly out of her mouth, you can go to her page. And she's answering a lot of questions. She has the story from beginning to end. Okay. And you see her name right here on the screen. Okay. So let me switch gears and let me get this up on the screen so that I can tell you guys who she is. Okay. So this woman, decided to tell us a story about the passing of her mother. Okay. Now, this is a real interesting story, child. So get into it. And I'm going to try to recall everything, but if I don't, that's why I'm letting you guys know about her page so y'all can go over there and check it out. Okay. So her name is Tanisha. All right. She has a sister and she also has a brother that are like, they share the same mom. Okay. Her brother has a different dad than her and her sister. Okay. Now, back in 1998, she was just a young kid, from my understanding, and her mother was in a relationship with her dad, as you see on the screen, but the dad happens to be her stepdad, not her real dad. Her real dad kind of had some issues with drugs and stuff, so he really wasn't able to like be in her life like that. He was too inconsistent. So her mom ended up marrying her stepdad. She had a child with this man. So in 1998, her mom and her dad at some point decided that they were not going to be together. The mama didn't want to be with him no more, so the mother actually moved her and her kids out of a home that they were living in that her mom and her dad bought, her stepdad technically. So if I say dad, that's really her stepdad. Okay. And most of the story, since the real dad is absent, when I say dad, we talking about the stepdad. Okay. So her mom moved her and her siblings out of this home that she purchased with their dad, and they moved into an apartment. Well, what ended up happening was, with this divorce, she thought about it and was like, you know what, my kids deserve to be in that house because, I put just as much money into that house as anybody else did. So yeah, no, she moved back into the home, right, with her kids and stuff. So at some point, now keep in mind, her mom had a whole nother boyfriend. This man happened to be her boss. So she was over there dating. And the man that you see on the screen is the man in the blue. The man in the blue here, that was her boss and her mom's man at the time. Okay. And the woman you see down in the screen with the blue on, that is, a shot of her mother. Okay. So she was, her mom was not with the dad. They lived in the same house, but the mother wasn't with the dad. The mother was with the new man. Okay. Horus, I believe is his name. So, had her whatever. So they were together. Now she had a vehicle that would kind of like mess up a lot. So Horace would let her drive his vehicle, right? Drive his truck to and from work because her car would be messing up. So it was like one day during the week, I think it could have been maybe like a Wednesday or something. Her mom, I guess, was getting ready to head out to go to work or something. So she kissed her siblings, and her, good night, goodbye, I love you back, whatever. She gets ready to go out of the door. She leaves home, and the daughter didn't hear from her mama for 2 days. So since Horace hasn't heard from her or anything, he don't know where she at. Like I think maybe 2 days later, Horace calls the phone, the house phone. She answers. Okay, Tanisha, the one that you saw, she answers the phone and she's like, "Hey, he's like, have you talked to your mom?" She was like, "No, I haven't talked to my mom. Like, when's the last time you talked to her?" The other night when she kissed me goodbye, I haven't heard from her. He was like, "Okay, well, when you do, tell her to call me back. It's very important." Well, when she got off the phone with him, she called her grandma and said, "Hey, grandma, have you seen my mama?" And she was like, "No." She's like, "You ain't seen your mom?" She was like, "No. When the last time you saw her?" "Oh, like Wednesday." "You ain't seen your mama in 2 days?" "No, I haven't seen my mama in 2 days." "Okay. All right, cool." So nobody knows where her mother is. So they start, putting up posters and stuff, start looking for the mom and everything, trying to find where she is. And while they're out looking, eventually they learn about they see a lot of police cars flying, and the grandmother is like, "Go over there." And she sent one of her sons to flag down a police officer to find out what's going on. And they said, "Oh, we just found a woman that's deceased over here or whatever. I need y'all to clear out the park because it's a crime scene." Okay. Come to find out, it was her mom. Her mom passed away. Okay. Now, at some point, I believe so when they were searching for the mom, keep in mind, the stepdad, the daddy, never helped them look for the mama, never helped them look for the mama at all. But the man in the blue, Horus, who was her boyfriend at the time, was out there searching, helping them, trying to find the mama. Okay. So he was out there looking, trying to see where she was, all of that. Well, At one point, I think when they were trying to investigate to find out who may have done this, of course, they're going to start interviewing individuals close to her. Well, when they interviewed Horus, Horus was over there saying something about, I guess he tried to lie about the relationship they really had because, of course, he was her boss. I guess that would have been a conflict of interest in some sort. But because his story kind of kept changing, they believed that he had a hand in murdering her mother. Now, keep in mind, the grandmama always thought that her stepdad had something to do with the death of her mom until the police set their sights on Horace and felt like because his story kept flip flopping and changing, they feel like he was the one that actually had something to do with her murder. So then what happened after that, they didn't really do much investigations into anybody else because when it came down to the dad had a, so they say, airtight alibi where he was caught on camera buying the kids candy later that night. Like the kids wanted some candy. He went out to the store, grabbed them some candy. They saw it on camera. He came back to the house. Everything was all good. It was what it was, right? So cool, dad, everything's good. So they didn't really look into the dad. They honed their sights in on Horus. Horus has always said, I didn't do this, okay? I'm fighting for my life. I didn't do this stuff, okay? I didn't do anything to the mother. Well, guess what? They ended up convicting him on second degree murder, and that man spent 20 years in prison. Okay, so while Horace is locked up, he keeps trying to appeal his case or whatever. He's saying he's innocent. And then, of course, the sister and Tanisha and her sisters and the family would come and they would testify and just pretty much say, no, don't let him out. He's a danger to society. He did this and that to my mom. He robbed us of our opportunity to get to know our mother and all of this stuff, right? So, of course, they kept him behind bars. So, meanwhile, she's continuing to live life. At one point, when her mom, after the passing of her mother, her stepdad, which she calls dad, took her brother, which is his biological son, and raised him. And he would not allow her and her sister to have any contact with him in the early beginning. She and her sister went to go live with her grandmother. Okay. Now, at some point, the dad started to let the son come around, maybe a few years later or whatever. And the dad, the cousin, stepbrothers, family, sisters, aunts, all of that would, just love on them, hug on them, be family, be around them, act like everything is all good. Life is great. She could call him and get advice about jobs, school, boyfriends, everything. Like that was her dad. He was her stepdad, but she called him her dad because her real dad wasn't really present. Right? So in 2018, as you're fast forwarding, you're living life and the family, everything is good. You ain't thinking nothing about it. Okay. 2018, she gets the call. No, 2016, she gets the call and they said, hey, just want to let you know that Horus, and she didn't want to say his name in the video. She was like, HR, I don't want to say his name. I won't say it here. And I'm like, why would you not want to say his name? Okay, when you end up finding out what the actual truth is, why would you not want to actually say his name? But anyway, so she gets a call from one of the investigators like, hey, just letting you know that he's still saying that he's innocent and he has now gotten the Innocence Project, involved with his case. Okay, and so she's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And due to new DNA, she's confused or whatever. And they're like, yeah, due to new DNA, they're going to be running some tests and all of this other stuff or whatever the case is. So, they're going to be handling his case. So just want to give you a heads up on that. All right, cool. Next thing you know, 2018, she got another call from the investigators to let her know like, hey, just want to let you know that Horace will be getting out of prison. And she's like, why? Right? And they're like, because he's been found innocent. Your mother had DNA under her nails, 2 different DNAs under her nails, and neither of them belong to Horus. So it's been, proven that he's not the person that, killed your mom. And I just got to let you know that he's supposed to be getting out. That's all we're supposed to do, call you, let you know the man getting out. He getting out. It is what it is, okay? So he gets out. Further investigation starts happening. Now, they ended up catching up to one of the family members. And that person that they arrested first, after they did run the DNA again through the system, ended up being the cousin whose name, I forgot his name. I think it was something with a J. I can't remember what the cousin, Jaquan or something like that. But anywho, they ended up arresting Jaquan or whoever, the cousin. And what's crazy is they've already had this DNA when her mother was first killed. They ran it through the database and did not find a match on anybody, right? But what she said was months after her mom passed, Jaquan ended up sexually assaulting somebody. And because of that, his DNA ended up getting into the system. But I'm like, but they never cared to run the match again because they already had who they had, which was Horus, right? So my thing is, if the DNA didn't match nobody in the system, why wouldn't they just run Horus's DNA to compare and contrast to see whether any of his DNA was under the nails? You know what I'm saying? Y'all still sent this man to prison because y'all must have had pressure on y'all precinct to solve a murder, and y'all didn't care who the hell went down for it. Y'all just went off a testimony and assumed that person was guilty and just went ahead and locked them up. Okay, cool. Lock the man up. Whatever. So, meanwhile, months after her mother died, this man sexually assaulted somebody else, got his DNA in the system, and it's been sitting there for years. For years, okay? And it wasn't until this man kept appealing, and finally got the Innocence Project to look into his damn case. Okay? Then find out that the man was exonerated and let the man out. Do y'all know this man spent 20 years of his fucking life in prison behind a murder he never committed? I can't take it. Okay? So then what ended up happening, they ran that DNA at a later time, 20 years later. The first DNA match came up to be the cousin Jaquan, who had something to do with the murder. Once they gave her a call, her sister was with her. And they talked to her and told her, yeah, we ran the DNA match and it was your cousin. And she got emotional, cried, said dad had something to do with this. Dad must have had something to do with this. Grandmama already knew. Okay. Now, a few months later, I believe, went by, and she talked to the investigators and asked them, oh, y'all never told us like who the other DNA was, right? So they wanted to know who the other DNA was. Kind of find out that other DNA belonged to her dad, okay? The stepdad. Crazy. And I'm kind of skipping around, but y'all can go check out her whole story if you want to get the in-depth. Then she mentions that there was a watch, okay? There was a watch that was also found on the scene. That watch had DNA on it. Come to find out, that watch, she said that was a big question in the first trial when they sent Horus to prison for the crime. And at that trial, they couldn't figure out the watch. And he's like, that ain't my watch. So it was like a lot of unanswered questions during that trial. But they still sentenced this man to prison, okay? Come to find out, the DNA on the watch belonged to her stepbrother. So your cousin was involved, your daddy was involved, like your mom, your grandmama always knew he was involved. Your step cousin, your dad, and your stepbrother. All of them was involved in the passing of your mama. Come to find out, with the stepbrother, he ended up giving more additional details than what they knew, right? Like, it was a lot of things they didn't know. She said she didn't know when her mother actually passed away. They only knew she passed away in the month of April. So on her tombstone, it only has April 1998. It doesn't have like April 18th or anything like that. It's just like April 1998. So she doesn't know when her mother passed away exactly, right? But then the stepbrother came forward after being locked up for 2 months, right? Because his DNA matched the watch at the scene. He finally came forward and made a deal with them and told them what happened. So they started planning on killing her mother back in December of 1997. They killed her in April of 1998. All over the house. The daddy did not want to give up the house to the mama when the house was in both of their damn names. You did all of this for a house. You took these kids, like, let's not even worry about the first two, but you took this woman from her son that she shares with you all over a fucking house. I really feel like it was more to the story, and I feel like he could have been jealous of the fact that she was moving on and she was with another man that actually was looking after her. Okay? Because even the girl was like, Tanisha was like, when it came to Horus, like, he was always nice to me and my siblings. Like, he was always sweet. He treated my mama nice. Like, I never saw an issue with him. Never saw an issue, but then she also went to the court testifying against him, saying that keep him locked up. He's a menace to society, this, that, and the other. Right? So that's what she's saying, because that's what she believed at the time, right? And she says to this day, she be like, dang, like, how do you ask for forgiveness to go up there and say all of these things about that person and only to find out that person was never the one that killed your parent? Like, oh my God, So yeah, so what that's what the brother said. So they planned this in December, they killed the mama in April. So she learned that the night after her mother said, I love y'all, kissed them, walked out the door. As soon as she got to the garage, the cousin grabbed her up pretty much and put a rope behind her neck, like choking her out. Okay. So he ran up behind her, choked her out with the rope, and I guess the dad was involved in that, probably smothering, probably whatever, trying to keep her from fighting or whatever. But she was fighting both of them. The step brother was there and saw what was happening, but as soon as they started to, like, choke her or smother her or strangle her, that's what I mean to say. As soon as they started to strangle her, he turned around because he didn't want to see it anymore. But he could hear her gasping for air, and he could hear her fighting for her life. Okay, so what ended up happening was they threw her in the truck that Horus allowed her to borrow. The brother hopped into the truck with her and drove that car. The cousin followed behind them. The dad stayed behind. And dad had him an airtight ass alibi because he made sure that he went to the gas station, bought some candy, and make it seem like he was a part of something completely different. Like he wanted to get himself on camera, and then came back to the damn house. Okay. Now they were supposed to take the car back over there to her apartment that she had rented out, right? Because she still was renting it, and I believe her and Horace may have been sharing that home. So the brother couldn't make it all the way over there. He could not take the fact that he was riding next to a dead body. Like he couldn't. He was just like, I can't. I'm gonna have to pull over. Like I can't do this. So they pulled over because the cousin was trailing him. Pulled over, grabbed her mother out, and just threw her against some boulders. Just threw her like she was trash. Hopped back into the car, moved the car like a little further up from the scene, and kept going. But the plan, honestly, to bring the car back to the apartment, the whole plan was to get Horace locked up anyway. Okay. The whole plan was to get him locked up and pretty much frame him for the murder anyway. Okay. And they damn near succeeded. Now, when it came down to when the people had first, like the 20 years later, when they finally ran the DNA and they caught a match for the cousin because he was already in the system due to sexually assaulting somebody, um when they told him his DNA was found at the crime scene, he tried to act like he didn't know. I don't know this lady. I don't know nothing about her. I ain't never met her in my life. Lying, knowing that he had to live with them at some point in their life. Okay, lying. Then when they went to the dad, he told him about it. He tried to act surprised, but then they asked him for his DNA, and he willingly gave it to him. I guess because he felt like after 20 years, what they got on me? Y'all couldn't find me. Y'all had somebody else arrested. Like the DNA probably ain't worth that now. So he willingly gives up his DNA, and they willingly added his ass to a cell. Okay? Because your DNA matched, stupid. Okay? So dad ended up getting his ass locked up. The stepbrother flipped on the family in order to get a better deal. And what I'm sick about with him is what we learned is that the stepbrother actually sexually assaulted her sister too, but she wouldn't go into detail about that and said that's her sister's story to tell. And the reason she only brought it up was because people were in her comments because they started reading articles and looking up information about this story, and that's when they learned, like, oh my God, your stepbrother assaulted your sister. And she was like, that is true. And I left it out of my story on purpose because that is her story to tell. And when she's ready, she'll share that. Okay. So yeah, so it was just a crazy story, but this is where it gets crazier for me. So the stepbrother ended up being on house arrest. So he was on house arrest, from my understanding, from like 2019, I believe, all the way up until recently. Okay, currently, they went to trial last month of September, and at the end of September, what we learned was that he is going to be going to jail January 1st of 2025, but he will only be serving 8 months. This is his deal. He'll only be serving 8 months in prison, and if he has good behavior, they will then let him out. Because they feel like if it wasn't for his who, what, when, where, how, and whys, then they would have never solved this case. And I'm not going to say they would have never solved this case, but the details that he gave definitely helped match up with the missing information they had in the beginning. And it definitely helped them solve the case. Now, as for me, that pisses me off. I don't give a fuck what he has helped do. This motherfucker was an accessory to a crime and literally lived free for 20 years. Played in these people's face. At some point, either before the mother passed, after the mother passed, sexually assaulted the sister. Okay, which was his stepsister. Your bitch has been out here living life, acting like you love these people. These people about been over here crying. You've been wiping their tears. They've been sharing certain moments of happiness and all this and that. And your bitch has been very involved in their life, knowing the whole time you knew exactly what the fuck happened to their mama. I feel like him coming to the front to tell the who, what, when, where, how, and whys is because he was supposed to tell that shit. So the fact that y'all would give this motherfucker 8 months and then turn around and want to let him out early is such a problem for me. If anything, he needs to be doing 8 goddamn years. That's what he needs to do. And a gag with that would be, well, we're going to credit him for the time that he's been on house arrest, which would be 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So then he probably still would be out in 2 years. That motherfucker need to serve longer than 8 months. I know that. Smiling in these people's face, playing in their motherfucking face, knowing the whole time you knew what the fuck happened to their mama. And then here's the gag. The sister, Tanisha, that was telling the story, said she should have knew something was up. Because one time the auntie said something. Because she said now she don't trust nobody. She said, I don't know who to trust in the family. I don't know what the hell going on. I don't know who to trust, whatever. So what we learned is she said her aunt one time said, oh, she must not know. She can go missing like her mama did. And so the daddy, stepdad here, was like, you don't say nothing like that. You don't do that. You don't da-da-da-da. You don't blah, 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 woo, 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 saying all of this. And so she like, damn, okay. I'm thinking he really checking her because that's not some shit you say. But Haki is really he checking her because don't say no shit that's going to fuck around and incriminate me and make her think this or that or the whatever. So she feels like the whole family damn knew what the fuck was going on for everybody to be so damn involved in the death of her mother. That is fucked up. Okay? What we're learning, I do believe that the dad may be sentenced to death. I believe that more. I think their trial or something, or their sentencing may be coming up in December, I believe she said. I think the dad may be facing death, but I think the cousin may be facing life. Don't quote me. Either way, I feel like both of them should be facing death, especially if it sounds like the cousin was the first one to start putting the rope around her. They should have the same sentencing, in my opinion. And I guess maybe the cousin didn't have as much of a tight grip as he thought. Therefore, the daddy stood in to help him out. But whatever it was, y'all contributed to that. Y'all should have the same time. Stay in there till death. Okay? Stay in there until death. But when it comes to the stepbrother, he needs to go. Now, Horus was released. He got out in, I believe, 2018. He got a good amount of money. And yeah, he's been able to live free. I wonder how much Horus was awarded in that case. Let me see if they said. I don't know how much he got. Let me see. Did they say? I don't know. Oh, okay. Looks like he got $11 million. $11 million for being wrongfully accused of murdering his girlfriend. Crazy work. He was married too, they say. He was married too. But I guess he was finna leave his wife as well, just like she was leaving her husband. Whatever it was, y'all put the wrong man in prison, and then the daddy and everybody else been out here smiling in people's faces and shit. Over here giving advice and doing this and that and acting like you just this big ass great daddy, but the whole time you done sat up here and killed this girl fucking mama. And the grandmama knew. She knew it. But once they said Horus did it, it changed her mind. Like, damn, maybe he did do it. But the whole time it was giving the enemy you knew. The devil that you knew. If that ain't some trifling shit, I don't know. Now, when it come down to the house where the mother got murdered at, they said they had still needed the house to do like investigating and stuff. But what ended up happening was the daddy gave the house to one of his daughters, right? not the daughters of the lady that died, another one of his daughters. So that house she was living in, and she ended up selling the house. Now the parents bought the house for $82,000 back in '98, but she ended up selling the house in an all cash deal, getting $600,000. Why she sold the house, I don't know. And her little brother that Tanisha has and the stepsister share together, but Tanisha's brother, by way of mom, he's in college. He's about 33 years old, from my understanding. He's in college trying to get his life, do his thing or whatever. And the sister took the $600,000 and may have given him a couple of dollars, a couple of thousands. And then she took the rest of the money, went and bought her a whole new house for her and her damn family. Didn't try to split up the money or anything, considering the fact that the house was partly owned by his mom and your dad contributed to the death of his damn mama. Girl, a fucking mess. A whole ass mess, if you ask me. And then upset with Tanisha and them for whatever reason. It's like they ain't do nothing. The cops did that. Be mad at Horus for fighting for his damn life. And more than anything, be mad at your daddy because he took a lane and he made a decision that he never had to make that impacted everybody while he was being fake as hell in everybody else's face, girl. So she's continuing to have her relationship with her father. I guess she feels like, well, hell, he ain't killed my mama. So I'm gonna be cool. Like, I'm good with my dad. That's my daddy. Bitch, bye. I hate it. If I was Tanisha, I won't fuck with nobody else on that side of the family. I don't give a shit about it. I sure the fuck wouldn't, because all y'all smiled in them folks' face. All of y'all smiled in this girl's face and about knew what the fuck had went down. Child, ain't that something? But I had to run this story by y'all, honey. If y'all want to see it, go and slide over there to TikTok and she'll break it all down to y'all, okay, in multiple parts. But that's all I got at this time, honey. I am Jami, that's me. Uh-oh, y'all. Not me showing my water bottle and stuff, girl. Let me get back over here. Oops, my bad, girl. Anywho, so yeah, let me go ahead and hop up off this thing. I thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JamiThatsMe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they died of me. All of a sudden, they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.